What's the worst financial decision you've seen someone make? I knew someone who got a loan for their wedding, but decided to blow it all at a casino. Now they have a loan for $20,000 to pay off, and nothing to show for it. A guy in my fraternity got $30,000 for an undisclosed reason. I'm guessing a family death or something, and he bet it all on the Yankees winning one game. They lost. A guy who lived on my floor in the dorms inherited $100,000 from his grandfather's estate. He was suddenly very popular, buying all the beer, pizza, new car, golf clubs, etc. He was living large. His parents showed up about a month later to attempt to help straighten him out and recover funds. The golf clubs and other items went to a pawn shop, and they even enlisted the RA to help watch out for the guy. Terrible for an 18 to 19-year-old to come into that kind of money out of nowhere with no reference or respect for how to handle it or how it was earned. It's good that they intervened before he blew it all. Yeah, that's a good financial decision by the parents, right there. My awful aunt was the trustee for my grandparents' estate. When they passed, she decided to sell their house to a random realtor who put a leaflet on the door. To the realtor, not with the realtor. It wasn't put on the market, and the aunt rejected a matching offer by me after I argued hard to actually list the house and have people bid on it. The realtor slapped a new coat of paint on it and sold it a couple of months later for literally $1 million more than she bought it for. Oyanal, but she breached her fiduciary duty and you could have taken her to court for it. Edit, the aunt, not the realtor. Yeah, I should have. But there was a lot going on at the time. I had newborn twins with 2 pre-existing kids already at home, and I was grieving the loss of my grandfather, who was one of my best friends my entire life. There were also more beneficiaries involved, so the personal loss to myself wasn't the full $1 million. Not that it wouldn't still be worth it, but with everything going on at the time, I just didn't have it in me. And as you can probably imagine, my aunt would have dragged it out and fought tooth and nail to the bitter end. It was probably worth it for me to be able to cut that branch of the family off and walk away, rather than have to deal with them in such a manner for God knows how long. Eat it, my friends. The pre-existing descriptor was clearly meant as a joke. Pre-existing kids sounds like a medical condition. My brother's ex fell for a Craigslist scam. She found a motorcycle, and the guy needed money up front to pay bills before she even saw it. We told her, don't do it. It's a scam. She said she already sent $1,000. Of course, he was never available to show her the bike, and we found out from my brother. After they broke up, she actually continued sending him money in hopes of getting the motorcycle. I think she was out $3,000 by the end. My ex-husband got cheated out of tens of thousands of dollars just by being an over-trusting and underthinking seller. He had always wanted a piano his entire life, and one day a friend's father had passed and left them an incredibly amazing and very old piano that she had no use for, so gifted to him. He loved that thing so much, tuned it, and fixed it up. Then a giant ball of tragedies struck that put us in very bad financial situation, causing us to no longer afford where we were currently living and having to move to his family's old home, which is off the mainland and on an island. Being that the only way to get anything moved was by ship and extremely expensive, he had to sell a lot of things, and much to his dismay, the piano was just too big and too heavy to afford to ship there. So he put out a listing to sell it for a very reasonable price. It was an antique in spectacular condition, made in the early 1900s, and was worth at the very least $80,000. He listed it for a fraction of what it was worth due to time constraint on having to get rid of it before the move. Someone contacted him and offered to buy it, and here is where he did something monumentally stupid. The buyer offered to have a truck come and pick up the piano in a very quick time frame and asked if it would be all right to give my husband $1,000 up front and then the rest in 2 weeks when they got paid. I know he was under a lot of stress, but damn, that was dumb. You do not let anyone walk away with an incredibly valuable item without it being paid in full. As I'm sure no one here is shocked by, the person never paid anything else on the piano and just disappeared. The money from that sale alone was pretty much all we were going to have to live off of until he was able to secure a new job in the new location. Scammers are truly awful, and many people need to learn not to be so trusting. It's sad, but it's just how it is. That seems like it is getting to be a large enough theft to warrant an investigation into who that was and his information from whatever social media that happened on. Did the police not do anything? I know they were normally basically ignore car thefts, etc., but this seems like there should have been a trail to work from. A friend of mine, who is very bad with money, and his girlfriend bought some sort of water filtration system from a door-to-door salesman. He has to pay something like $300 a month for this filtration system. He was all stoked because it came with a free set of pots and pans. Fast forward a year, and his girlfriend has broken up with him, moved out of the house, and he's had to sell his home because he can't afford to live there. The water filtration system is now sitting in a storage unit where he still pays $300 a month for it because he's on a 2 or 3 year contract. Sorry, the details are fuzzy. I work for a government agency in building maintenance. We get hit up by water filter and air filter clowns every couple months, wanting to sell us some bullshit. We are obligated to sit through their sales pitch so we aren't biased, but we all know it's bullshit, snake oil. The homes and buildings that do need specialized systems like these usually have them installed on day one. A co-worker I used to have worked every second of overtime he could for several years to save up for a house. When he applied for the house loan, he based his mortgage payment on all of the overtime he had been working. I tried to tell him that wasn't a good idea, but he didn't want to hear it. He ended up divorced a few years later because his wife got tired of him always working. When my wife and I bought our house, we based it off of just my income. So if she lost her job, or I lost mine, we would be fine. Everyone told us we should get a super nice house with our income since we could afford it. 2 years later, my wife lost her job. And now we have nothing to worry about. No added stress. It was the best decision we have made. That is a great idea, and something I never considered for some reason, thanks. My brother and his wife were in massive debt, didn't work high-paying jobs, and could no longer afford their 2-bedroom apartment while trying to pay off the debt. They moved back home, into our parents' basement. A week before they moved in, they built a computer, and a year after that, they consciously decided to try to get pregnant, which they did, while still living in the basement and knowing they haven't improved their financial state whatsoever. Your poor parents. Now they won't be able to kick them about because of the kid. Oh, don't worry. My parents had a brilliant idea to sell their house and move into my sister's house. They paid off all their debt, their car, plus all the expenses of getting them new furniture, first and last month's rent. Pretty sure they are back in some sort of debt now, and from what I was told, my sister-in-law never even said thank you. I met a girl who got pregnant 2 times before finishing high school. I went to high school with a guy who had impregnated 3 different girls within 6 months of each other. A year later, he had 3 kids under 1. I knew a guy who was terrible with money, worked in a warehouse but spent all his money on drugs and things for his controlling girlfriend. Then one day, he came to me to show me his brand new car, probably around $40,000 to $50,000. He takes me for a ride and starts bragging about how he took his pay stub to like 10 of those cash advance places and get $10,000 worth of loans and had been living like a king. It was as if he thought he found some sort of life hack. To this day, I'm not sure if he just thought he wouldn't have to pay it back or what. A couple weeks later, I learned he wasn't paying attention while driving and rear-ended a bus going way over the speed limit and totaled the car. Train wreck of a guy. Someone at my work bought a brand new Audi RS3, around 70 to 80,000 euros. He got 40,000 from his grandma because she gave it to him for if she's about to die. A small fortune to buy a house, maybe, but no. What he did was put another 30,000 from his own money to buy the car. The guy has no house and has no money left. What's that one saying? You can sleep in a car, but you can't race a house.